Hey pool players, hey Ron here. Welcome once again to the Pool Student Channel. Thank you so much for watching this video today. It's a very important topic and it's going to cover cue shaft diameters and tip selection. So without further ado, let's check it out. Okay, before I get into all my cues, you guys, I want to talk about the one that I ended up with today, and that is my Predator Sport 2. It has a Z3 maple shaft. It has a conical taper. It's an 18-ounce cue. It came with a Victory medium tip. I also opted for an extension, 12-inch extension. Total cost for this cue is $712 with the extension. Now let me talk about how I evolved into the decision to get this cue. The very first cue I bought was this Champion Gator. It's a 20-ounce, a little bit heavier, has a 12.5 diameter conical taper shaft. And those of you that don't know conical taper, what that means is it starts to taper immediately from the ferrule back. As soon as you leave the ferrule, it starts to get larger in diameter. I'll talk about that in a minute, and what I like about a pro taper versus a conical taper. This is a nice cue. Excuse me, nice cue. It's a rather inexpensive cue. It's like $110. Pretty decent quality, straight, works well. I didn't like the tip. I switched the tip over from the Tiger tip to a Kamui medium. That helped it a lot. I also wanted to experiment, so I bought a larger diameter Champion cue, and this is a 13 millimeter, and this is a Champion Spider. It came with a Tiger tip as well. I ended up changing that out also to a Kamui Super Soft, just so I could experiment with the Super Soft versus the medium. And I found out that the medium's a little harder and then the Super Soft is a little softer, so I'm going to opt now for a soft. And I'm going to be changing out the tip on my Predator because the tip that's on there right now is a little bit suspect. I'm having some miscue issues, and I'll talk about that in a minute as well. So I think that if I go with a new tip in the Kamui Soft, that'll be my tip of choice. But anyway, that's the situation as to why I bought a 13. The third cue I bought is this one here. It's a Purex. It's a low deflection cue. It happens to have a Pro Taper. It's an 18-ounce cue. It's a higher quality cue than these Champions, but lesser quality than the Predator. Cost on this is $268 sticker price. I bought it for $220, so a real good deal on it. It did come with a Kamui medium tip. It still has it on today. I shoot with this in the last couple weeks. That's all I've been shooting with is this stick. Main reason why I've been shooting with this over the higher dollar Predator is that the tip on my Predator, the SIB tip, seems to have gotten hard, and I'm starting to miscue out of the blue, even though I'm not trying to really put a lot of draw, let's say, on the cue ball. It'll just miscue, and it's like puzzling to me. As soon as I started experimenting back with my Purex, with the medium Kamui, no miscues. So I know there's something going on there. My stroke hasn't changed. In fact, if anything, it's gotten better through the months. So if I were to recommend a cue, if your budget is a little bit, fixed, this Purex is an excellent choice. Not that expensive, way less money than what that Predator cost, but it's still got great performance. I love the harmonics of this. When I strike the cue ball, I just feel everything nice. It's nice and firm and solid. Great cue. One thing I will say though about that, as I mentioned, solid, is a conical taper versus a pro taper is the conical taper will put more energy into the cue ball than a pro taper will. I have not noticed that though, or any difference really, so I'm not really sure. Maybe it takes a pro to really recognize that. I don't really recognize it at all. One of the things I like about this pro taper is that it stays the same diameter, 10 inches to 11 inches back before it starts to increase in size. So when I'm stroking the cue ball as I move my cue, like my practice strokes, I don't feel an increase in the diameter as I get further away from my hand with the cue. So it's like it's more constant. I've read also that pros like it for that reason. And I'm surprised that I recognized it myself and then read it later. So I was onto something, which normally I'm more of an intermediate player, so how would I even notice that kind of thing? But I do notice that. So today, I'll probably do this soon, as I'm going to change my shaft on my Predator cue to a Pro Taper cue shaft. So that's about $300 to upgrade to that. But I wish I would have done that early on. I wouldn't have been at this boat, or in this boat at this time as a result. I'll talk one more stick real quick, two of them actually. I got the brake cue, it's a 25 ounce, about $110 is what it costs. It's a cheap cue, it has a 3-piece situation going on, so you can double it as a jump cue. It does have a phenolic tip, 13 millimeter, way too heavy, 25 ounce. I believe that you really only need a 20 ounce cue or a 19 ounce cue for braking. That 25 is just way crazy, too heavy. Those 4 cues over there are my house cues. They actually have very good tips on them. They're only $2 a piece for the tips, I found out. But they are a layered leather, and I shaped the tip, put my chalk on it. First time I ever shot a 9-ball rack, I broke and shot all the way through the 8 and missed on the 9. The very next rack, I broke and ran out. So go figure, cheap stick, but looks nice, straight, feels good. Those 4 sticks come in different weights. It's a 19, 20, or 18, 19, 20, and a 21 ounce. I've only fixed one of the tips up and shot with it, but if someone comes over to shoot, great stick for them to use. I will say this lastly, is the shape of my tip. I like to have a smaller radius, like a dime radius, and I actually even taper the sides or radius the sides down so there's no sharp edge at the edge of the tip. I want that to be smooth all the way. I find that I get really good action on my cue ball that way. I don't miscue as much either, because I think with that sharp edge that I used to have when I first started playing, that little point, I would get my miscue along that little ring. So now I smooth that all out and I actually don't miscue as much. So I wanted to say that. So that's pretty much it in my review on what I've come to find out about my equipment and how I've evolved today into where I'm at. So if you have any questions, go ahead and fire them at me. If you have any comments, that'd be great. Once again, if you are if you're a jumper, let me know what jump cue you prefer, because I am going to switch out this brake cue and I'm going to buy a jump cue rather than use it for my jumping. So I'll need to know what works best for you guys out there. So once again, thanks for watching, and give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and become a subscriber if you're not a subscriber. I'm going to be posting more video down the road here that'll help you in your game, not just about equipment, but it's going to be about your stroke, about drill work, about running out, things like that. And I'd love to be able to help you in your game. Take care, everyone. Until next time.